Chancellor Bennett, better known by his stage name Chance the Rapper, is a rapper, surprisingly, from Chicago, Illinois, who has released 3 projects since 2012. This started with 10 Day in 2012, which he recorded while he was on a 10-day suspension from his school, hence the title of the project. This was then followed by Acid Rap, which was released in 2013, and then that was followed by Coloring Book in 2016, which is Chance's most recent project. And I'm here to rank all his mixtapes so far and tell you guys what I think of them. Real quick, before we start the video, I'd like to say I'd really appreciate if you guys could follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. That's just under the username CDTVProductions. The last picture of me on Insta is me clutching my dick. Go check it out. Please give it a like, my friends are gonna roast me for it. And with all that being said, guys, this is CDTV Productions, and today I'm gonna be ranking Chance the Rapper's discography from the worst to the best.
Yep.
And at my lowest spot, we have Coloring Book, which was released in 2016.
If one more label try to stop me, it's gonna be some dreadhead niggas in your lobby. You don't want no problem with me.
Now, while this is my least favourite project from Chance, I still think it is a pretty good project. And it was probably one of my favourite projects from 2016. But it just really didn't live up to his other 2 projects, in my opinion. People might be surprised that this is my least favourite album from him, but it still is pretty damn good. As with all of Chance's projects, this opens up very strongly with the track All We Got, which features Kanye West and the Chicago Children's Choir. It has a strange drum pattern on it, especially in the hook, with claps occurring seemingly at random. Also, as I've said before, I love the combination of a rapper along with a choir in rap music, and Chance pulls that off a lot on here to fit with the gospel theme of the project. This is followed by the biggest hit from this project, No Problem, with Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz. It's another track with a hugely upbeat sound and a nice choir sample in the background. It's pretty much Chance's song bragging about making it independently and having never released a project for sale. I like the 2 Chainz verse on here, and Wayne is actually a very fitting choice for this song due to his label issues. Another song I loved on here that I wasn't sure about on paper was Mixtape with Young Thug and Lil Yachty. I really love the spacey sound to the production here, and the hook has been stuck in my head, and Chance's verse goes with the beat perfectly. I didn't like Young Thug on here at all, really. There was parts where his voice just seemed like too high-pitched, and I get that Young Thug experiments a lot with the vocal tones, like that's mainly what he's known for, but for me it didn't work at all here. I was actually kind of impressed by Yachty's verse. I think his style of singing works well on this track, and he talks about his happiness at making it in the rap game. It was quite a good verse to me. Another great track is Juke Jam. Chance sings the entirety of his verses on this track, and it sounds amazing. He has a really soothing, soft voice, and it works very well. Then we get to the hook of this song, and it sounds really commercial, but in a good way. I also thought Smoke Break with Future was a pretty damn good track, and it was a pretty interesting instrumental to hear Future over. And he doesn't ruin the song for me, so that's a big plus. As for the low points on here, there were certain tracks where I felt like they just sounded really flat, or didn't sound how they were intended to sound. For example, I love the hook on All Night, but I felt like the verses just sounded very kind of empty, and Chance didn't work well with the instrumental on it. Like, I think he could have, but I think the verse he wrote to it and the way he flowed on it just didn't sound quite right. And this next point, I feel like barely anyone will agree with me on, and please don't attack me for this, but I wasn't really a fan of the track Angels. Like, it was not a bad track at all, but it didn't interest me or grab my attention in any meaningful way. And I get that it's like a happy, upbeat track, but I don't know why. I honestly just wasn't feeling it that much. For me, this was definitely my least favourite Chance project, but it wasn't bad. My overall opinion is that it's just good, and I liked most of the tracks on here, but like I said, I definitely prefer his other 2 projects a lot more than I like this one. And at our second spot, we have 10 Day, which was released in 2012. This was a great debut mixtape from Chance. I feel like his personality and sound wasn't as developed on here. Like, he wasn't too sure fully which direction he was going in with his music, but that's part of what makes it so interesting to listen to. It's basically Chance's foundation for who he is today. The mixtape also kind of has a nice little story behind it. The mixtape was all recorded during the 10 days in which Chance was suspended from his high school for being in possession of weed. Hence the title of the mixtape, 10 Day. It starts off with the song 14,400 minutes. I was always wondering why the song was called that until I realised that that is the number of minutes in 10 days. I don't know why my mind was blown when I figured that out. It seems like it's actually just kind of obvious now, like you should just make that connection, but I didn't. It's a great intro to the album with great sounding horns on the beat and Chance talking about his suspension from school. Now people doubted he was even going to finish school and how they're going to eat their own words now that he's decided to become a rapper. This is then followed by the insanely calming track Nostalgia, where Chance talks about his childhood. This track surprised me because his voice sounds so different on here. It sounds a lot less animated on this track and more like his real speaking voice, and that helps add to the chilled out sound of the track. His voice was also very different on the following track called Missing You, which is probably the darkest sounding track Chance has ever released, and it surprised me. He has a filter over his vocals and raps over a really eerie beat. It honestly almost sounds out of place on a Chance record. My favourite track on this mixtape has to be Family, featuring Vic Mensa and Suleiman, which is a great light-hearted track about family. The sample on here fits the track so well, and I really love Vic's verse on here especially. I'm definitely going to check out more of his music soon. And as always, Chance's soft voice really makes the track sound even more soothing, and he has a pretty nice rhyme scheme on this track as well. The track that surprised me the most was definitely Fuck You're Talking About. Just listen to the track Fuck This Industry by Waka Flocka and tell me if you can imagine hearing Chance over that beat, because that's what this track is. I honestly didn't expect this type of track by him, and it came to be one of my favourite tracks on this project. I don't think there are many tracks on here that I dislike, to be honest. I wasn't hugely feeling the track You Got Me Fucked Up, but that's about it. This was a fantastic debut for Chance, and really laid the foundations for his next project, which is why it's got this spot as my second favourite project that he has released. And at number 1 we have Acid Rap, which was released in 2013.
Raps just made me anxious, and acid made me crazy. Them squares just made me looser, that wax just made me lazy. And I still make this song, and I'ma make it.
Now this, to me, is without a doubt the best thing that Chance has ever released. It never fails to make me feel amazing, but saying that, it does have a good mix of its upbeat and emotional cuts. Like I said before, Chance's intro tracks are always great, and the intro here called Good Ass Intro is no different to that. It's such a happy song with drums that just bounce back and forth and an amazing chorus consisting of vocals from multiple people. Essentially, I'd say if you love this song, Acid Rap is gonna be your shit. But if you don't, I'm not sure this is gonna be the type of project you'll enjoy. Chance's very odd and unique voice helps add to the really positive and carefree sound of the songs here, and his cool, almost tick-like ad-libs help carry so much energy throughout all the tracks. A great example of his energy here is on the song Juice. It has a very chill, upbeat sound to it, and Chance just sounds like he's having so much fun on this track. The hook also manages to be pretty exciting, with the chance of the word juice and Chance's na-na ad-libs in the background. A very similar track is Favourite Song with Childish Gambino. I put this on my list of the 10 most upbeat rap songs, and this thing honestly puts me in such a good mood all the time, and Gambino's verse really sticks with me on this one with some funny lines. For sure though, my favourite track has to be Chainsmoker. It has such a great hook and it has a really bouncy, energetic sound to it. This album also has one track that stands out to me because it's fairly different to all the other tracks on here, and that track is Smoke Again, which essentially serves as the banger for this album. It has a really cool beat with a nice synth brass melody and a drowned out deep voice hook. And Chance still keeps his unique style of almost calmly singing his lyrics to make sure it isn't just a generic hype track. It also has one of my favourite lines by him where he says, "Lean all on the square, that's a fucking rhombus." The only thing I didn't like about this track was Ab-Soul's verse. Now I think Soul is a fantastic artist, but his verse on here was really underwhelming to me and had some corny lines. Then of course, as I mentioned earlier, we have some more deeper tracks on here that still maintain a fairly light-hearted approach. There's the track Lost featuring No Name, which is a very melodic track detailing a drug-influenced relationship, which is followed by the track Everybody's Something, which has a very nice uplifting message. This mixtape is so fantastic, and I think there's probably only one track I dislike, and that track is Nana. I felt the beat wasn't really for me, and just overall the sound of it didn't appeal to me. Also, I usually love his whole Nana ad-lib, but honestly on this track it's just quite annoying. But that's the only track I don't really like, and everything else on here works perfectly. Even if you don't like Chance for reasons like because of his voice, or his weird energy, you have to at least admit that he can put his projects together very well. And that is why Acid Rap is going to take my spot as my personal favourite mixtape that Chance the Rapper has ever released so far. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and let me know your personal ranking of Chance the Rapper's discography in the comments below. Now, I didn't include any of his collaboration projects here, because I know he has a few mixtapes where he has collabed with other people, and I know there's also the album Surf, but I didn't include those because I was only doing Chance's solo mixtapes. And also let me know if there's any other rappers you want me to do in this series. Next week I'm going to be doing a Worst Rappers in the Game episode on Future, so you can be looking forward to that next Friday. And yeah guys, I really appreciate if you could follow me on my Snapchat, Twitter and Instagram. Like I said, that's under the username CDTVProductions, and that's all lowercase for the Snapchat account. If you search uppercase, I don't think it would work. With that all being said guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, please leave a like, please subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys all in the next video that I release. Thank you so much for watching, and this is CDTV Productions, signing out.